All right, so we're going to pick up with the last section, which is talking about our brain and split brain, which is what happens when we sever the thing called the corpus callosum. Now, the corpus callosum is just a band of axons connecting the two hemispheres, and they allow the two hemispheres to communicate with each other seamlessly. This is the reason why we don't really notice any of the things that we're going to talk about with split brain is because we all typically have a connected corpus callosum, so everything acts seamlessly, left, right, talk to each other simultaneously without any interruptions. But sometimes what happens is people have what we call split brain surgery, or they sever the corpus callosum because of things like seizures or other types of brain disorders. It's very rare, it doesn't happen very often. Okay, so one of the things that happens when the two sides of the brain do not communicate, or one of the best representations, I guess, would be something with our visual field. Because remember, the left eye, okay, talks to the right side of the brain, and the right eye talks to the left side of the brain. Okay, so when you have a split brain and you do some studies, you do some examples, and I'll post some videos of some things that they do with a guy who, some demonstrations they do with a guy who has split brain, so look for those if you're interested. Okay, so each hemisphere can't perceive what the eye sees. So for instance, if I were to cover my right eye and look at something with just my left visual field, and I had a split brain, this is assuming I had a split brain, only my right brain would process this, would be able to know what was going on, okay? And then vice versa, if I cover my left eye, if I cover my left eye and my right eye sees everything, only my left brain would be able to process what's happening. Now, what implication does this have? Well, we have to remember that our language centers, our ability to produce speech, is on our left side. So typically it's the stuff that the right visual field sees that allows our left brain to then say speech. Okay, but again, with normal people, with normal, connected corpus callosums, we're constantly shifting and our left and right eye are communicating, and so we don't notice this. And even with people who have a split brain, if their right visual field is seeing things, okay, their eyes are going to shift, okay, to allow the left brain to see that as well. Okay, but it's only when we do special experiments that we can kind of really see what happens. So what would happen? Okay, so again, if you have a split brain person, you tell them, like if we look at our little example on the screen, okay, if you tell them to look at the dot, okay, again, the left brain, okay, is going to see this side, the right brain is going to see this side, okay? So we tell them to look at this, and we see this. Their left brain will only see the word art, okay? Their right brain will only see the word he. So when you ask, what word did you see? Okay, remember, the speech center is on the left side, so only the left brain can respond in this situation. So they would say art. Now, however, if you said point to the word point with your left hand to the word that you saw. So remember, left hand controlled by right brain. Right brain saw the word he, so it would point to the word he. Okay, so again, when we're talking about split brain, this is the kind of stuff you always have to keep in mind. What hemisphere is processing the information, and thus, what are they going to be able to do? Okay, so could the left brain point to a word? Absolutely, because we have a motor area on our left brain, but it would point to the word art. Okay, the biggest difference is just those language centers. Okay, so only if the left brain sees or processes the information can the speech be produced. So, for instance, divided brain in action, this is the guy I'll post a video of if you want to take a look at that. People are able to follow two instructions and draw two different shapes simultaneously. So the left hand can do something and the right hand can do something, and they could do it simultaneously because you're not getting that confusion that normal, that comes with the corpus callosum kind of talking. Now, the drawback is that people can be frustrated that the left and right sides do different things. One of kind of the weird things, and some people call this alien hand syndrome, where when one side of your brain is thinking about something, it's controlling that side of your brain, even if you're consciousness isn't on that side of the brain. So you could have your left hand doing something because your right brain's thinking about it, and then you're not being necessarily aware that that is happening. And I'll post another video about kind of alien hand syndrome. That's kind of an interesting piece of that as well. So again, split brain is basically the severed corpus callosum, and the take home big thing to remember with that, and how to kind of process this is just remember that the two hemispheres have some specialties, okay? And because we have this divided kind of cross body, left brain, right side of the body, right brain, left side of the body, that you always kind of have to take a step back and think about, okay, which hemisphere processed the information, thus which side of the body is that then going to be ready, or is then going to be behaving how. All right, brain game tomorrow. I hope everybody's studied, ready. I'm gonna go bake.